to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Before we get into today's video, if you are watching for the first time, please do me a small favour. Make sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. We are now one away from 23,400. Please go and get involved. Live every single morning, bringing you all of the latest news, talk, and everything you need to know about Man United. So, the show this morning, we're going to be talking about Jadon Sancho to Napoli. We're going to be talking about Hugo Ekitike. We're also going to be talking about I need to call him Hugo Mbeumo, Bryan Mbeumo, and lots of other bits as well. As always, I like to start my videos off with a question. I like to get you, the Manchester United fan base's opinions on the big talking points at the moment. And the question for this morning is this: are you happy with £60 million for Bryan Mbeumo? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. That is reportedly how much it's going to take for Brentford to sell him to Manchester United this summer. Would you do this deal? £60 million is apparently the required fee. We are going to start the show off by talking about this topic. Please do get in the comment section right now. If you are watching this video live, there is going to be a poll. The question is going to be simple. Is Bryan Mbeumo worth 60 million? There you go. The poll is set up. Get involved. Yes or no? Is Bryan Mbeumo worth 60 million? I'm going to answer the question first because I can't ask you it without answering it myself. So for me personally, I think he is. 20 goals last season in the Premier League, 7 assists, 27 goals and assists in 38 Premier League games. 25 years of age. Fits the age profile of the players we're looking for. I think he definitely is worth 60 million. I mean, when you think that we paid like 60 million for Mason Mount, Arsenal paid 60 million. Actually, I think a bit more. I think Arsenal paid about 65 million for Kai Havertz. I think he is. I think he's Premier League proven. He got 20 goals for Brentford, who are generally a mid-table side. I would say 60 million's at the very, very top end of what he's worth, right? I don't think he's worth any more than that. But if we sign him for 60 million, I don't think that's a bad deal. That would be 60 million for Mbeumo and 62.5 million for Matheus Cunha. 2 Premier League proven players who combined got almost 40 goals between them in the Premier League last season. When you look at it like that, I think that's pretty good, realistically. That's good value for money. They're both around the age of 25. They're both scoring goals for fun. They're both playing for currently lesser teams in the Premier League, more mid-table teams. I mean, I say mid-table teams. We've nearly got relegated. But you know what I mean. Generally, more mid-table teams than Manchester United. So, yeah, I think he's worth 60 million. I think Brentford are well within their, it's perfectly reasonable for Brentford to be asking for that level of money, I would say. The only thing I would say is this, though. He does only have 1 year left on his contract. So, I would maybe have liked the fee to be a little bit less. Just because you do have that bargaining power, knowing that he only has 1 year left, right? You could turn around to Brentford and say, well, if you don't sell him to us now for 40 million, say, or 50 million, we'll just wait until next summer and get him for free. That's a possibility. But yeah, like I said, get in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Would you be happy with Bryan Mbeumo coming to Manchester United for a fee of £40 million? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section right now. Very interested to see what you guys all have to say. And we're going to move on from there. And we're going to jump over to Hugo Ekitike because there are some really interesting reports this morning saying that apparently Manchester United's new #1 target is now Hugo Ekitike. I think we've moved on from Gyökeres. I think the fact that Gyökeres wants to go to Arsenal, it's a little bit of a dagger in the back, isn't it? Imagine how Ruben Amorim feels. Ruben Amorim brings Gyökeres to Sporting Lisbon from Coventry in the Championship. He gives him his big break. He helps him develop into the player he is now, regarded as one of the top 10 strikers in the world currently. And his agent has publicly put out through intermediaries that they want to join Arsenal. I mean, it's not particularly great, is it? And I think because of that, we need to just look at alternative options now, whether it's Victor Osimhen, whether it's Hugo Ekitike, whether it's Jonathan David, whether it's whoever. We need to start exploring alternative options. And the reports this morning are suggesting that apparently Manchester United's new #1 target is now Hugo Ekitike. So there's a couple of different stories coming out here. The first one's from Fabrizio Romano, And he is reporting that Hugo Ekitike is a player appreciated by Manchester United and Christopher Pavel, who is one of the head of recruitment at Manchester United. It says Christopher Pavel knows him well because he's worked with Hoffenheim and Leipzig, so he's always monitoring the Bundesliga developments. Sky Sports this morning are reporting that United have held talks with Frankfurt about signing Hugo Ekitike. Personal terms won't be an issue, and the player is open to joining the club. So Sky Sports are reporting that this morning. And then also we have Paul Hurst from The Times, again, a very reliable journalist. He is reporting this morning that Frankfurt are asking for the same amount of money that they sold Omar Mamouche to Manchester City for, which was £63 million. So, I mean, that's not actually that bad, is it? I probably would take Hugo Ekitike for 63 million. In fact, I would take him for 63 million. I don't think that's a bad price at all. I think as soon as you start hearing this 100 million euros thing, which is about 82 million pounds, I think that's what's put a lot of people off. I think, if we could get him for around 50 to 60 million pounds, I would be happy. I'd still be a little bit worried that it might not work, but I would be happy knowing that Gyökeres isn't available because he's going to Arsenal, I still would prefer Gyökeres or Osimhen, but if we can't get either of those two players, I would say that Hugo Ekitike is the next best option, most likely, and then probably like Jonathan David. But yeah, how does that make you feel this morning to know that apparently they've set an asking price? Again, this is coming out from Paul Hurst, who is the Manchester United correspondent for The Times here in the UK. Very, very reliable journalist, doesn't put out fake stories. And he is saying that apparently Frankfurt are asking for £63 million for Hugo Ekitike. Does that change your kind of standpoint on this? Does that make you a little bit more inclined to want to bring him in? Let me know what you think. I'll be interested to see what you guys have to say. We'll do a poll on it in a minute as well, guys. We'll do a poll to see what we can do. Let's have a look what people are saying. A couple of people in the chat are saying that the German media are reporting that Hugo Ekitike wants United. Yeah, I have seen that a couple of times now, that apparently he does want to join Manchester United, Hugo Ekitike. So, I don't know. A couple of people are saying that they think he's just Rasmus Højlund. That is my concern as well. Because you are buying somebody who is effectively still a prospect. So yeah, you are right. It's 50-50. It's a gamble. Hugo Ekitike might come in and he might be the next Alexander Isak. Or he might come in and he might be the next Højlund, And there's no way of knowing until he comes in and we pay the money. So yeah, it's a huge, huge risk. Huge risk. But maybe it's worth it. I don't know. Is it worth it? Let me know, guys. Is it worth it? Would you do this deal? Yes or no? Very interested to see what you guys have to say. Right, let's bring you this story about Bryan Mbeumo as well then, shall we? So this is coming out this morning from... Where is it gone? It's coming out from the Manchester Evening News this morning. That apparently Bryan Mbeumo has told his agent that he only wants to join Manchester United. How do we feel about that? And then the story says that Manchester United remain confident of finalising a deal for Mbeumo. That's coming from Manchester Evening News this morning. That apparently Bryan Mbeumo has told his agent he only wants to join Manchester United. I mean, I'll say this, right? We just need to get this deal done. There's not really much more to it. Like, we have to get this deal done now. If he goes to Tottenham, it's going to be embarrassing. We need to bring in Bryan Mbeumo. He wants Manchester United. He's waiting for Manchester United. He's desperate to join Manchester United. Let's just pay the money and let's get it done. He's Premier League proven. He got 20 goals last season. He's supposedly a boyhood Manchester United fan. Like, we need to do this and we need to do it now. Pre-season tour starts in like 4 weeks, guys. We'll be flying to America. And is it America we're going to this year? I think it's America. But anyway, the pre-season tour literally starts in 4 weeks. So we need to get this deal over the line before then. We need him on that tour. We need all of our new signings on that tour. We need a striker on that tour as well, I think. And we need to start working on some outgoings as well. Desperately. Because it's been painfully quiet so far. We do have some news on some outgoings this morning to bring to you, actually, though. Talking of outgoings. And this one this morning is in relation to Jadon Sancho. So this story's coming out from Damasio. I think Damasio is relatively reliable. Sky Sports journalist in Italy. He used to be a tier 1 source. I'm not sure if he still is a tier 1 source. I feel like he's kind of fallen down the ladder a little bit. But yeah, this is coming out from Gianluca Damasio. 2 million followers on Twitter. Used to be a tier 1. Whether he is now is up for debate. He is reporting this morning that apparently Napoli have reached out to Manchester United and are attempting to sign Jadon Sancho. I mean, great. Napoli have just signed Kevin De Bruyne. So, I mean, it's not beyond the realm of imagination. I just wonder whether they'll be willing to pay his wages, though. I just can't see it. Napoli's current highest earner is Romelu Lukaku, who is on €150,000 a week. Jadon Sancho is on about €300,000 a week. So, these are the bits of the stories that I always just don't believe. It's like, oh, great, yeah, Napoli are interested. But Jadon Sancho is refusing to drop his wages. I think Chelsea offered him about £150,000 a week, which is €200,000 a week, to stay at Chelsea. And he said no. He wanted 250 grand a week. So do we really think that Napoli are going to break their wage bill to accommodate Jadon Sancho? I don't think so. Personally. But you never know in football. Anything can happen. And maybe this is something that does happen. I'm just not sure if I see it personally. How do you guys feel about this? Let me know. Can you see Jadon Sancho going to Napoli? If he was to drop his wages, I think it's definitely a possibility. But he's not going to do that. So, yeah. I mean, obviously we want Osimhen. Is there some sort of world where we buy Osimhen, they buy Jadon Sancho, we pay him off some of his salary to bring his wages down? You know, that could happen. So say, for example, Jadon Sancho's on 250 grand a week at Manchester United, right? With 1 year left on his deal. We might turn around to him and say, we will give you 5 million to leave on the basis that you now accept a lower salary at the next club. You know, something like that. This does happen. Where effectively, if the new club that they're moving to aren't willing to match their wages, the old club, so i.e. Manchester United, would then be expected to pay like a leaving fee to the player in order to make sure the player's wages are the same. Does that make sense? So Jadon Sancho's on 250 grand a week, right? With 1 year left on his deal. Say Napoli are only willing to pay him 100 grand a week. Jadon Sancho's going to turn around and say, well, I could stay at Manchester United and earn 150 grand a week for the next year. More than what I'd earn at Napoli. So if I'm going to leave, I want you to give me 150 grand a week for the next year. That's what he could say to Manchester United, because he could say, you know, I'm happy to go, but I'm only happy to go if my wages are going to be the same. And at the moment, the offer I have on the table is not the same. So it would probably be something like that, where we would have to pay him. I remember when Harry Maguire was linked to West Ham, it was a similar situation, wasn't it? He had like 2 years left on his deal. But Manchester United were going to have to pay him like £10 million to leave the club or something like that. So, yeah, that's probably the only realistic way that that we could see Jadon Sancho leaving, is if... Yeah, I mean, as if we pay him effectively. Which makes me feel pretty upset, but there you go. We have a super chat coming in from Ray. Thank you very much, Ray. Ray says, with Rasmus's lack of service, if we improve our final third creativity, Ekitike or Højlund would score more goals. That's why we need Mbeumo, who is creative. That's a good point. I mean, is there a world where we just give Højlund another chance? We give Højlund a chance with Cunha and Mbeumo. Maybe that's a better option, you know? As Ray says, maybe Rasmus isn't the problem. Maybe the lack of service is the problem. I do agree with you, to be fair, somewhat. But then there are some attackers, strikers, who do just create chances out of nowhere. And I don't think Højlund's that player yet. Højlund probably would score if he was given more opportunities. I agree with you 100%. But I think we also do need some players. Like, I've seen some goals that Gyökeres scores where, like, he'll just score out of nowhere. Like, you know, Ronaldo, when he was at United, he got no service at all. And he would just get the ball and have a shot. I mean, Ronaldo's a world-class player. Højlund isn't. But do you know what I mean? I'm not sure that Hugo Ekitike would do that, though. I think Gyökeres would. I think Gyökeres and Osimhen would create their own chances out of nowhere. Even if they weren't getting service, they would score goals without getting service. Whereas I do agree, I don't think Højlund and Ekitike would do that. You know, they're more players who rely on being given the ball, you know, balls coming into the box, whatever, to get goals. So, yeah, I do agree with you. I do agree. What else have we got? Somebody says, I don't understand why Rasmus is... I don't understand why Gyökeres is going to Arsenal. He just wants Champions League football, I think, to be honest. Realistically. You know, they're going to play him... They're going to pay him big wages. He'll go to Arsenal. He'll get Champions League football. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, really. We can't offer Champions League football. That's why. He obviously just wants Champions League football, you know. I think he's just turned... Is he 27 now, Gyökeres? Yeah, he's just turned 27, like a week ago. I mean, at the moment, he is one of the most prolific strikers in the world. And if you're him, you want to be playing in the Champions League, realistically. You know? So... Yeah. So that's my take on that. I think if we're able to bring in a striker, we should definitely do it. Well, not definitely. We need to do it. We need to do it now. Right now. See what else people are saying in the chat. We've got another super chat coming in. Melcher is saying that apparently Ekitike is extremely creative. I've only seen him play maybe like 5 times. I know Gyökeres is very, very creative and creates his own chances and all the rest of it. I didn't think that Ekitike was like that, but yeah. A couple of people saying that Rasmus can't play next season. I agree. Alex says it would be funny if Arsenal picks Sesko and Gyökeres doesn't get the move. I mean, it's a strong possibility. You know, Arsenal haven't decided on Gyökeres, by the way. That's why I think this whole thing is so weird. You've got Manchester United desperate to sign you. You can go and play for the manager who literally made you. The fan base are crying out for you. And then your agent puts out a story that you want to join Arsenal. But whilst this is all happening, Arsenal are in talks with Leipzig over Benjamin Sesko. So it's like, imagine if now Arsenal say, we don't want you. Manchester United go and sign Hugo Ekitike. What happens to Victor Gyökeres then? Where does he go? You know, who's going to want him? If Arsenal reject him, Manchester United sign someone else. He'll move somewhere, like Juventus are looking for a striker. He will get a move, but he might just start falling a little bit down the list of maybe the clubs he actually wanted. So, yeah. Right, let's see what else is going on in the chat this morning. Somebody in the chat says he's not going to Arsenal. Where's he going then, my friend? There was a well-briefed story from Fabrizio Romano and other top journalists saying that apparently Gyökeres has given his priority to Arsenal. And then there was another story from Fabrizio saying that apparently Manchester United don't think they'll get him anymore. So, I don't know. Who do you believe? Fabrizio Romano? Or do you believe... I mean, there's nobody saying anything alternative other than one person in the chat this morning. So, who do you believe? Fabrizio Romano or the one person in the chat who thinks they know more than Fabrizio Romano? I'm gonna side with Fabrizio on this one, unfortunately. But yeah. People are saying, but Arsenal want Sesko. Arsenal don't know who they want yet. They're looking at both of them. They're looking at both of those two players. They've obviously got a new director of football, haven't they? And things kind of work a little bit different under the new director of football versus how they worked under Edu. They've got the Atletico Madrid director of football, don't they? Was his name Berta or something? Yeah. What else have we got? A couple of people in the chat saying, why are we not going for Mateta? I think the reason we're not going for Mateta is quite simple. he turns 28 next week. And for whatever reason, Ineos have this obsession of buying players who are like 19, 20, 21, 22. You know, Ugarte 22, Højlund. Sorry, they didn't buy Højlund. Ugarte 22, Yoro 19, Aiden Heaven 18, Chido Obi 18. Like, if you look at Ineos' signings, right? Let's have a little look. So these are all Ineos' signings and ages. Aiden Heaven 18, Ugarte 22, Mazarawi I think is about 25, Dorgu 20, Delict 24, 25, Yoro 18, Xerxes 22. They've signed 7 players so far, Ineos, right? Not a single one of them is over the age of 25. Most of them are between 18 and 21. That's probably why they're not looking at Mateta, because he's 28 and they have this obsession with younger players. And the reason for that is simple. They bring in Lenny Yoro for, what was it, 50 million? In the hope that he becomes one of the best centre-backs in the world and they can sell him for 100 million. You know? That's kind of their model. So yeah, I don't know. I agree Mateta's an interesting option. But you're not going to get him cheap. You're not going to get him cheap, I don't think. Somebody in the chat says, let's talk about Sekou Kone, new midfield star. I think, to be honest, I think the best option for Sekou Kone would be a loan move. Not because he's not good enough, just let's try and get behind our young players. And, let's try and give them the best possible opportunity to succeed. And I think, yeah, if we were able to do a loan move for Sekou Kone, that would be absolutely perfect. Loan him out, maybe to the Championship for one season, like we did with Ahmad. Remember, Ahmad went on loan to Sunderland, guys. He also went on loan to Rangers. People forget about that. Ahmad went on 2 loan moves. Give him a loan move, send him off, let him gain some valuable experience, and then, once the time is right, bring him back, and the rest is history then, isn't it? So, yeah, I think that's the safest option. Kenny's saying that Sport Builder reporting that Ekitike will join Manchester United. Yeah, I mean, you've got to be very, very careful with the German media, because obviously the German media are going to be given this information from Frankfurt. Frankfurt are trying to start a bidding war. It's very, very easy to see what's going on here, all right? So until like Fabrizio or David Ornstein says about Hugo Ekitike, we need to be very careful around the German media, because they are effectively... They're client journalists, you know. They're working for the German clubs to try and get the best possible deal. I mean, this is what Sport Builder have said. So Sport Builder reporting that Christopher Vale, Manchester's head of recruitment, is pushing for a deal to sign Hugo Ekitike. I mean, maybe that means we get him. But then also you have Sport Build saying that apparently Hugo Ekitike is a target for Liverpool. Do you see what I'm saying here, guys? Sport Build are effectively putting out all these stories at the moment saying that, you know, United are close to signing Hugo Ekitike, but Liverpool want him as well. And it's a lot of talk. And all they're trying to do is drive up the price of a player who plays for a club in the country that they're from. And a lot of these outlets will be client journalists. You know, they'll have a source at Frankfurt who will give them a story saying, you know, put out this story that Manchester United are going to sign Hugo Ekitike. And then an hour later, put out a story that Liverpool are going to sign him. You know, it's client journalism. It doesn't mean we won't get him. Maybe we will. Maybe he is a target now. I think it makes a lot of sense. The age profile makes sense. You know, as I said, most of the players we sign are around the age of 20. I think he's just turned 22. He's experienced. He's played for big clubs in the past. You know, he's played for PSG. He's obviously played for Frankfurt. He's done well for Frankfurt. He's got 22 goals and 12 assists this season in 48 games, which is phenomenal. 34 goals and assists in 48 games for Frankfurt. Very, very good. He's obviously in the French national team. So, yeah, I mean, he's a good player. That's all I can really say. He's a good player. He would work well. But just be careful with all of these stories, all right? Frankfurt are trying to get as much money as they can from this. And yes. Let's have a look at these other 2 super chats that have come in. Ray says, Ineos are trying to turn us into a budget team and I hate it. I agree. I agree. Well, they're not trying, Ray. They already have. You know, they've sacked every single employee, bar maybe like 100 people who work for Manchester United. The biggest example, Ray, of what you're saying, right, and proving your point is the day before the Europa League final, Manchester United announce that if we win the Europa League final, there won't be a trophy tour, there won't be a bus, there won't be any party. They're going to have a barbecue at Carrington. I mean, that just sums it up for me. That just sums up the club as a whole and how Ineos want to run it. A barbecue to celebrate winning a major European trophy. It's just, yeah. And, you know, I'm not saying that they should go and give the players loads of money and do something crazy, but like a barbecue, come on. It's laughable, isn't it? But yeah, I agree with you, Ray, 100%. It is frustrating. We don't seem to have the same financial power as we did before. We all hate the Glazers, but they did used to spend money. Which is a little bit of a weird thing to say, that I'm almost praising that the Glazers did actually spend money. Arguably, it wasn't their money. The money was from credit cards, so that's why we're in such a bad situation. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Yes, the Glazers did spend money, but none of it was their own money. It was all just money they borrowed at high interest to buy players. So it was kind of bad, really, but you know, at least we were signing players. Peter seems to think that Hugo Ekitike is going to Liverpool. And Melcher is coming with a super chat saying that Ekitike is Liverpool's #1 target. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. We've got to be very, very careful here because all Frankfurt are trying to do is get as much money as possible. They're going to tell Sport Bild to put out a story that Manchester United are close to agreeing a deal. That will then encourage Liverpool to put in a bid, and Liverpool will probably sign him. And then all the Liverpool fans will say, "Oh, we beat you. We got the play." You know, it's stupid. Quantum says, but don't forget they had a bus tour in Malaysia. Oh my god, yeah. That bus tour was embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. Right. I think we've covered all the talking points for today's video, guys. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has joined me on the show today. Thank you to all the people who've done the super chats. I really appreciate it. If you could do me one favor before you all leave, make sure to like the video. It really, really helps to bring more people into the channel. And if you are watching for the first time, please do subscribe as well. We're one away from 42,400, so let's try and get to that next target. I've set a goal of 50,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, okay? So let's try and reach it. Share the videos with your friends. Get other people to subscribe. Let's try and get to 50k by the end of by like September, by the end of the transfer window, all right? Have an amazing day, everybody. If anything breaks during the day, I will go live, of course, so make sure the notification bell is on. Enjoy your Tuesdays. And I'll speak to you all later. Yeah, like and comment, as Alex says. Thank you, everybody. Speak to you all later. Bye for now.